Crothers, and I'm trying to get beyond the formality of, okay, now we have to have the proper introduction, and we have to set this all up and storyboard it and blah, blah, blah. And come on, I just want to get the information out. This is a sharing between myself and whoever's watching, and if my subjects of interest to me are of any interest to you, then you could write me and email me or comment on this video and start a dialogue. I'm going to be part of a online class that's utilizing nonviolent communication and mindfulness together into some kind of package. I'm somewhat familiar with nonviolent communication and took a few classes on that, quite a few classes actually, but have recently run into some difficulties emotionally in my life due to serious illness for a long period of time. And it's like, is my life over? And dealing with all of this emotional stuff that comes up. And then difficulties with people because I'm a grouch now instead of a happy camper. So, although I have my moments of peace and all that, I realize that my path now is dealing with the heaviness of my own life, the heaviness of relationships, even though I have a really good working relationship right now with a wonderful woman, and I don't foresee it coming to an end, but I have to be careful because just as soon as I get the positive words out of my mouth, I might get hit by something and back to the misery of having to find ways of expressing yourself without sharp bursts of anger and judgment and stuff like that. So I was reading one of my favorite books here, Focusing by Gendlin, and it was a book that I had read when I was 19 years old. It was a new process or self-help technology right after cybernetics had come out, psycho-cybernetics. And that was a great book. My dad gave it to me. Here, Dan, deal with that, learn how to deal with your problems. So, okay. I liked the book. And it was, positive oriented. And then I read a lot of things, Zig Ziglar being one of them, was one of my favorites because he was a positive thinker and goal setting and all this kind of stuff. But when Focusing came out, it was an actual process that you could get to know as a thing that's happening that you didn't know before with your own emotions and your thinking. And one way you can describe it is that in your body is all of the stuff, all the subconscious and unconscious, and the process is in your body. So how do you get to where you can listen to your body? That is where I'm at. Okay, how do I listen to my body? And it has a particular program of steps that you follow through, but it's like learning to ride a bike. There actually is something happening, and you have to follow not necessarily rules, but how to keep your balance through it all and make it happen. Now, I just open up the book and pick a spot, right? And here it says, what if too many feelings come too fast? Because basically what focusing does is you find your feelings and then you deal with each one of them. Because like if it's anger, then, what am I angry at? Or what is all that anger? And then you listen. And what's interesting is you can't just, hey, what's the matter? Oh, well, I'm pissed at so-and-so. Oh, well, there's the answer. No, it's not going to be that easy. In fact, listening to your body is a much slower process. Where when you ask your body, what is all of that sorrow? And the body will come up with a word that kind of metaphorically describes it. And you wait for that word. You wait for that description. And it takes virtually at least 30 seconds for that to happen. And while you're listening or feeling into your emotions, your feelings, you may get impatient and not allow the process to happen. So this is where it takes practice and learning the subtleties of how to focus productively. Now, one problem I'm dealing with was so many feelings that how do I deal with all of them? Okay, I'm going to put them on the shelf and then take one at a time and deal with that one. And don't take your focus off of it. I'll just read for a second, okay? Some people find focusing difficult because their feelings come too fast and there are too many. Focusing is a slowing down for these people. Take any one and stop it and stay with it, I tell them. Sometimes it helps when I say, all right, there's that whole welter of feelings. Now let it all be and just let yourself quietly down under it as if there is just one feeling under them all. See if you can get that feeling underneath them all. Silence. Then, oh yes, I feel, let's say, hurt. Okay, there you are. I say, see what that hurt really is, that whole sense of hurt. Take charge, I say. Throw them all out and then let them come in one at a time. First, get them all off of you. Just sit up, look around the room and push them all off. Take a break, then let one feeling come. Just one. Okay, so I was mentioning sorrow. I was just throwing something out. But just to find, how am I feeling right now? Now, I have initial thoughts, though, around that real quick. I'm hesitant about this because I want to start this online sharing video, deep thinking, talking, finding solutions, bringing out the depths of soul. This is what I want to do. And I write music, and I want to be able to put music to it and make it interesting. I want to be live, but then I also want to be able to make video productions so that they're listenable and educable. Educatable? They're educative. There it is. See? And that's what I'm talking about. It seems that we're always refining. We're always getting deeper into it, getting more meaning out of it. I had the wrong word, but I know what I wanted to say, so I threw it out, but it wasn't an actual word. It was messed up. It took me a while to find the word educative. And that's how working with your emotions and your feelings, basically same thing, is. Now, I want to bring something up, though, that I say there's an inner listening, which is basically like focusing. It's focusing with an intent. An intent on, and I'll just say it, reaching God. Is it possible to reach God? What is prayer for? Well, prayer is a way of requesting to get connection to God. Hey, God, can you help me out here? I need some understanding. I need you to point the way. I need you to help solve my problems. I need to know what to do. I need to find a way to feel better about life. That's what prayer is. Prayer is a way of focusing. And for those who practice prayer, it's a lifesaver. They know that there's answers to prayer. Now, I'm not going to say every Christian lunatic is, because they pray, that they're getting all the answers they need. So that's why throughout the years I have found focusing to be very helpful. You know, we find helpful things along the way on the path because one thing doesn't work enough. You can pray all you want, but the world's still going to stay the same, and relationships may stay the same, or people don't change, or finding a way to make a living. You know, all these things require what I had just pointed out, which is you throw something out there and then you have to refine it and work on it until, aha, you've got it. So life is a feeling out process constantly. We can pray, but then there's the feeling out and the waiting for, and then feeling out the answers that come. Now, I'm not saying let's don't do prayer, but I am saying let's try to understand what's happening in prayers and find a way of doing the same thing, which I'm saying let's do focusing. Let's focus. Now, focusing deals with feeling into the body and having the body come up with feelings that you can identify. And usually they get identified as certain things like anger, sorrow. And then when you take your steps to focus in on those feelings, you're going to be looking for descriptors so that you may understand what that feeling is about. You know, why do I feel sad? Why do I feel sorrow? Well, I don't really feel sorrow. I was using that as an example. But I could look into, I did find something that I could be sorry. I'm always sorry about. I'm having a difficult relationship with my son, and it's painful to me. And I live with it daily, moment to moment even at times. And I haven't got solutions to it. But it's almost like that saying, it's not the end that we're after, it's the journey. So sometimes problems are in our life and they persist because our journey is to learn to deal with these kind of situations. We're supposed to learn a lot of stuff around it. And so that's why I'm talking about focusing, because here's a new way of dealing with your problems and coming up with solutions. Aside from, oh God, help me, prayers. I remember when I was young, in my, late teens and also 20s, early 20s, that I would go for walks, long walks, and I would pray the whole time. And I remember I'd come home from those walks and my mind would be exploding with information, with depth, with understanding. It was like a light went on and I was grasping stuff. That grasping went on for years throughout my 20s. And my mind started to reach new places, new vistas of awareness. Like once you start learning to listen to your body and the feelings that are in there, and then get these little hints or little light going off recognitions, these aha moments, they can be quite liberating. You can set down a problem as solved, and it no longer is going to take up your time and energy. And that energy is now free. And in those moments of that freedom, sometimes the mind soars in higher conscious experience. So my whole purpose of sharing then is to find ways that free us from our dark areas, our areas that we lack understanding. But when you find the understanding to these dark places, you really are making headway, and that information is valuable. Anybody that shares those insights with others has a gift that they are giving that also gives to them. Not only first, but then as they're giving it. You may think that you have to be a really intelligent being and get good grades and have a high IQ and all these things, and then you've got maybe a gift that you can share with somebody and it has value. No, let me tell you something. You could be an ex-drunk on the street for 30 years of your life and then go to AA, and after 5 years in AA, you take some young person under your wing who's feeling very sad and discouraged about life because they're just coming off of addiction to alcohol. And you, being a 60-year-old alcoholic that has learned to abstain from it and find another way of dealing with the situations in life, and you share some things that made sense to you and helped you find the strength not to give in. When you share that with a young upstart in the AA technology, it benefits them as if you were a genius giving them a gold nugget of knowledge. So don't think that you don't have anything to contribute, because in this walk in life we struggle, but we learn from it. The Buddhists call it Tonglen, learning to take that suffering and be with it as it works with us and insights come. And that's the insights of, we could call it Holy Spirit, we could call it Buddha mind. It's the gold, it's the refined knowledge, understanding. In the Bible it says that wisdom and knowledge and understanding is like gold. So for those who seek to gain understanding and knowledge in life, are seeking for basically something that's worth gold. And a lot of people pay money to go to a therapist to find little pieces of gold. And rarely do therapists ever give anything of value. And I can't believe I just said that. But, I mean, you might have a good therapist and they're pretty smart. But unless they've been through hell, then they don't really know where you're at. And that's why AA groups or 12-step programs are so useful, because the rules are set up, the steps are set up so that it's a participatory, contemplative, admitting your troubles, working through stuff, thinking about it, sharing about it, letting down your defenses, letting others in, admitting the truth about how you feel all the way to the depth of your being. So, focusing is an act that you can do with somebody, although they're not really contributing anything except a listening ear and an attentive spirit. Because when somebody's with you and being with you and letting you go into yourself honestly and share that with another, it creates this electrical connection, a grounding, and then the process can unfold. one of the main things about an alcoholic, for instance, is like in the first early steps, you have to admit it, that you're an alcoholic and that you're powerless to overcome it. At least in that moment. What am I going to do? I'm an alcoholic. I've got problems. What am I going to do? I don't know what to do. I feel powerless. This starts as the beginning of honesty. And then more stuff comes up, how to be honest. And then as that goes on over the years, your character gets developed into something that's with integrity. You've learned how to be honest with yourself and with other beings. So, well, there we go. Gosh, I didn't even really know what I was going to talk about. I opened the book, and there we go, focusing. It's spontaneous. Whatever my connection is with the camera, whatever my connection is with life, that when I sit down, where am I? What am I up to? What wants to come out of me? You know, like the focusing, my connection to life is evoking from me what I need to either give or I need to get. And maybe they both happen at the same time. So I'm here to be honest. I'm here to give what I can. I'm here to search and be part of sharing that journey with you.